She is known as the Lady of Peace. Her name is spoken with respect in countries around the world. But her story is not simple. It is a story of sacrifice, of courage, and of a love for her people that cost her almost everything. This is the life of Aung San Suu Kyi. Her story begins with her father. General Aung San was a hero in Myanmar, a man who fought for his country's independence from British rule. He dreamed of a free and united nation. But in 1947, when his daughter was only 2 years old, he was assassinated. His dream was left unfinished. His daughter would grow up knowing his name but not his face. She would carry his legacy without ever really knowing the man himself. Her mother raised her. Kyi was a strong woman who worked as a diplomat. When Aung San Suu Kyi was a teenager, her mother took her to India. Later, she went to England to study at Oxford University. There, she lived a quiet life. She met a British man named Michael Eris. They fell in love and married. For years, she lived far from her homeland. She raised her 2 sons. She wrote books. She studied philosophy. It seemed she would live a peaceful, ordinary life, far from the politics and struggles of Myanmar. But in 1988, everything changed. Her mother became very ill. Aung San Suu Kyi returned to Myanmar to care for her. When she arrived, she found a country in chaos. The people were rising up against a brutal military government. Students were protesting. Workers were marching. And the military was responding with violence. People were being shot in the streets. The country she remembered was gone. It was replaced by fear and suffering. The people saw her. They saw the daughter of their national hero. They saw someone who had returned not for power, but to care for her mother. They asked her to lead them. At first, she did not want to. She was a scholar, a mother, a wife. She was not a politician. But she could not turn away from the suffering she saw. She began to speak. She gave speeches in front of crowds of thousands. She spoke of democracy, of freedom, of a Myanmar where people could live without fear. The military government was not happy. They saw her as a threat. They began to restrict her movements. They arrested her supporters. In 1989, they placed her under house arrest. She was locked inside her home, cut off from the outside world. Her family was far away. Her husband was in England with their sons. They could not come to her. She was alone. For the next 15 years, she would spend much of her life inside those walls. The military offered her freedom many times. They said she could leave. They said she could return to England to be with her family. All she had to do was promise to stop her work and leave politics behind. She refused. Every time, she refused. In 1991, while she was still under house arrest, she was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Her sons accepted the award for her. She could not be there, but she used her voice to speak to the world. She said that the prize was not for her alone. It was for all the people of Myanmar who were fighting for freedom. Her husband, Michael, was diagnosed with cancer. The military refused to give him a visa to visit her. He was dying, and she could not be with him. They spoke on the phone. He told her not to leave. He said her work was too important. He died in 1999. She never saw him again. Finally, in 2010, she was released. The world celebrated. She stepped out of her house, walked toward the crowds, and smiled. It was a moment of hope. She entered politics. Her party, the National League for Democracy, won a huge victory in the 2015 elections. She became the state councilor, the leader of her country. For a brief time, it seemed the dream of her father was finally coming true. Democracy was coming to Myanmar. But the story does not end there. During her time in power, a terrible crisis unfolded. The Rohingya, a Muslim minority group in Myanmar, faced violence and persecution. Hundreds of thousands fled to neighboring countries. The military, which still held great power, led the attacks. Aung San Suu Kyi was criticized around the world for not speaking out strongly enough. Many said she had failed to protect them. Others said she was trapped, trying to govern in a country where the military still controlled so much. Whatever the reason, the world's view of her changed. The symbol of peace now carried the weight of this tragedy. In 2021, the military struck again. They arrested her and her party leaders. They took back power in a coup. Once again, she was in a cage. Once again, she was separated from the world. The country she had worked so hard to free fell back under military rule. Her legacy is complex. To some, she is a hero who sacrificed her family and her freedom for her people. To others, she is a disappointment, a leader who did not protect the most vulnerable. But to the people of Myanmar, she remains a symbol. They see in her the possibility of a different future. They remember her standing in front of crowds, speaking of freedom. They remember her refusing to leave her country, even when it cost her everything. When you look at her life, you see a woman who was given a choice many times. She could have lived a quiet life in England with her husband and sons. She could have taken the easy path. She could have left. But she chose to stay. She chose to fight, not with weapons, but with words. She chose to endure imprisonment, loneliness, and heartbreak. And even now, with her future uncertain, she remains a figure who reminds us what one person can stand for. Her father was killed before he could see his dream. She has spent her life trying to finish what he started. Whether she will see that dream in her lifetime is uncertain. But her story is not finished. The people of Myanmar still carry her hope in their hearts. They still believe that one day, the country will be free. Thank you for learning English with this story. What does courage mean to you? Write your answer in the comments. And remember, sometimes the strongest people are not those who fight with weapons, but those who stand for what is right, even when standing alone.